Oh, 1 minute late. Just as I click it.
Shambles. Absolute shambles.
Good morning. Right, let's see who's in. Obviously, she's always number one. Morning, Lucy.
Well, not always. Sometimes she misses out to Carper, but she made it.
Well, either way, if she is first, it gets the lead anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do this halfway through the week, not long until the weekend. Absolutely. Cannot wait. And we got a nice run at the car boots as well again because the weather's going to be good.
Weather looks great.
Morning, Tonks. Andy. I would love to know some more people's names. I'm going Tonks Boutique. I'm going Limelight Vinny. I'm saying all these names.
We know Limelight, but Limelight Vinny's Jenny.
Jenny.
We know Jenny told us before. Not sure on Tonks. They probably have told me before, but.
So, Gents from Marketeer, good morning. Hope everyone's today will be great.
We know his name. We know his name. His name's Steve, isn't it? Gentleman Marketeer.
I think
Steve.
it was Dave, something like that.
Dave, okay.
Morning, Nikki.
James and Sarah, that's it.
There we
How
go.
did I forget James as well? That's so bad.
Morning, guys. Right, today is about the bangers. Can we survive without bangers? Can we survive? So I say it to you, I say it to Simon, I say it to people all the time. Like, do I think I could do this without picking up crazy? I mean, when I say crazy items, that's the thing. I want to kind of define what a banger is, and it can mean different things.
Yeah.
It could be like profit. I mean, I think I initially go to how much profit an item brings me back rather than say like the speed of it, even though sell-through is, I don't know, if not more important, to be honest. But when I'm thinking of like bangers, bread and butter, all this kind of stuff, I really think of profit margins. So we probably have a similar profit margin in mind when we go out, pick items up, car boot, vintage, charity shop, whatever you want to call it. Mine is around the £15 profit per item mark as an average. And that's why this conversation is pretty important, because it's going to be an average. So for you going out, are you focusing on items like that? Is that kind of your metric when you're going out, first of all?
I think so. I think when I look at a banger, though, I look at it in many different ways, because you could have, let me give you an example, okay? You go and pick up a vintage Nirvana shirt from the car boot sale, okay? You list it up at £600. I'm just using this example. Now, that you might class as a banger, but that might sit in your store for a year waiting for the right person who's willing to fork out £600. So the other way you can look at it, and the way I look at it, a banger item for me is something that has a good sell-through, a quick sell-through. And again, all of these terms we're using, quick, good, banger, it all depends on what you want for your store. You know, I might want things to turn over within 90 days. You might be happy to pick up things to turn over within 6 months. Simon might be looking at stuff that turns over in a week. So I think the term banger is subjective depending on what you're looking for. But when you talk about the profit margin, yes, any item I pick up, I'm looking to make a minimum of £15 profit average. We all know you get the stuff that goes sky high. We also know you get the stuff that goes below that. But I look at a banger item as in something that's going to hit the store and sell straight away. I mean, like outside of clothing, the iPod is a prime example of that. That was a banger because you pick it up, it's reasonably cheap. You list it and it sells the day after. For me, that's a banger item. Where, I don't know, an item like the Carhartt jacket, people might class as a banger, but that stayed in my store for 6 months before it sold. So I would look at that to say, well, it's worth good money, but it's not a banger in my eyes.
Yeah, I think initially to me, it was around £15 profit per item mark and then 90-day sell-through. But if I'm being 100% transparent, I think all the items I kind of go for now, I would say it kind of, I want it to be 20 plus, and I probably want it way less than 90 days. Because, I mean, at the minute, I'm dealing with a space issue. So I'm seeking a second unit just because it's filled up so much. I'm approaching, I think, how many items I've got in my store at the minute? I think like 1,800, and it's got the capacity of about 2.5, something like that. But the thing is, because I used to have a second unit, I collapsed the racks, and then they're now in the first unit, so they're taking up a lot of space there. So at the minute, clearing items and sell through is massive for me. So yeah, when it comes to the profit, which is kind of where I initially put the focus on it, but then when I speak to you, like, I mean, you just come in with a completely different perspective. And when I speak to you guys, and Tonk's just put in there, and I'll put it in the side chat. And if you're coming in now, what is a banger to you? Do you look at kind of a certain profit amount? Do you look at a certain profit amount with a certain sell through? What's your criteria for that? So yeah, I think because I'm trying to clear stuff, I'm trying to aim for slightly higher. So I would go out, we go to a car boot, try and pick up stuff, say between like £1-5, and then get, say, like 30 back after fees, everything. You're looking at like 15, 20. But I think the way that I'm pricing at the minute, the way that I need to price is I need to clear. So I might be aiming for that, but I'm not ending up with that. So getting these like high ticket items and stuff, like I think is pretty much necessary for me at the moment to get the ASP up. And I'll show you some examples of, I've clicked on last month. So when you go to your performance tab, you can look at this year, you can look at last month, you can look at this month, and it will show you your ASP. And then when you scroll to the bottom, it will also show you the items that you've sold within that period of time. And then you can put that to the highest value items. And then you can see basically where you're at. So I think for last July, I sold, it was just under 300. And then I was looking at that and I was seeing kind of like the percentage of it being, you know, over like 80. And it was a fair chunk. And I think it was needed because the ASP in the end was kind of where I wanted it to be anyway. So without these, like, I mean, I say crazy, crazy can mean different stuff to different people. But what I would class as, say, bread and butter is the 10 to 15 mark. So, because I don't pass up, you know, a £10 profit, or even like, say, £8 if it's quick, if it's rapid. Just because I say £15 average, that's an average. I still want it to fly out the door, even if it goes at that. But I would class 15 to 30 as decent. This is my terminology as well. Then I would go 30 to 50 as sick. Then I would go 50 to 100 as unreal for me. And then I would say 100 plus is a banger.
Are you talking about profit? Or are you talking about what the item sells for?
I'm saying profit. That's what I'm saying.
It has to be profit, because you could pay £60 for a jacket and sell it for £80. It doesn't mean that falls into the sick, as you used, category. So you're talking about anything over X amount is a banger based on the profit it brings you in.
But that's a perfect example of what you said there, because although I've seen quite a few vintage heads, vintage guys that go out and they're just looking for those center swoosh 90s or Carhartt, you know, Detroit jackets and stuff like that. And then you get that and you think that it is a banger. It's a crazy item. And then you price high. And like you said, you had a crazy, and when you picked it up, I remember you was like fully gassed, like going nuts. I haven't heard of it. It was a Carhartt. What was it? I
want to say Sakai. I might have pronounced that wrong. It's the collab they do with like Nike a lot as well. But that jacket was in the charity shop for 25 quid. I want to say it sold for 500. I'm trying to remember now what it actually sold for. I had it priced up at 1,000 at first. And by the time it sold for 500. But this is what I'm saying. For me, people would look at that as if to say that is an unbelievable find, 25 into 500. And yes, it is on paper. The monetary value is great. But there's more to the item than just what it sells for in my eyes. So as I said, that item was on the store. I would say it was 6 to 9 months I had that item in my store. Now, it's cost me 25 quid. So it's not like I've sunk a lot of money in for it. But for me, that isn't a banger. For me, it's a banger if it sells overnight. That's like, for me, the definition of the banger. But profit-wise, if we're talking about the profit scale, like you were talking about there, that falls into like unbelievable. If someone said to you, you can turn 25 into 500, like great. But again, we're talking about one-offs. What I would love to do is be able to turn 25 into 100 every single day, multiple times. That for me is a better business compared to these one-off items here. You have a great sale and it's amazing, but then it is just one sale.
It's just the waiting, isn't it? Because I'll pull it up as an example as well. I got this vintage Goodfellas t-shirt, and I think it was like a promo for the film, and I paid, I think it was like just over £5 all in. Absolutely ridiculous. I think it was on Vinted for like £2. No idea what it was. It was just a graphic tee to them. And I was looking at comps. Initially, I put it up for say 250 quid because I thought it was an unbelievable. It's one of my favorite films. Love the Goodfellas, and yeah, just like nostalgia, and it looked just like a promo T-shirt. Then I searched on Google Lens, did a bit more digging, and realized that it was actually a pretty significant T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I put it up for, what did I say, like 250, 300, something like that. Bang, got an offer straight away. I think for 175, 250. But this was
at that point, you've underpriced it.
But it was like a Vinted snipe. It was, you know how rapid, you click list, and then probably like not even a minute later you get an offer, and then you're like, you've had it a few times where you're
I had
like,
the same with the Blur shirt. The Blur shirt I put up for 70 quid and got an offer straight away for 50 within like 10 seconds of it being live. And then I knew straight away, I was like, nah, this is worth more money. And it's sold for 300. So yeah, you're right. When it comes to like the vintage stuff, they're they're on it. The people have that safe search. So as soon as someone uses the word in your face, like Goodfellas or Scarface, whatever it is, that pops up for them and they're straight away on it looking at it because they're catching the people slipping.
Speaking of Scarface, I'm still waiting for like a 90s Scarface T-shirt. I don't know how many
they're
are out there, but
you're going to just find it when you're least expecting it. And if I find it before you, I'm not giving it to you. I'm selling it. So
yeah, I remember when so I was searching for a decent price on the Supreme collab, because they do a number of graphic tees for Scarface, and I managed to get one of them, but the collar was all messed up. I got it for like 20 quid, but you can easily resell it for 40, 50 plus. So I got rid of that in the end. But where was I going with that? So yeah, the Goodfellas T-shirt, bang! Like, and you think if they'd have just bought it outright, they'd have made a decent whack on it anyway. But they, people just get a little bit greedy, don't they? They're like, right, offer, might accept it straight away. It's like the whole vintage sniping thing anyway. And then I looked into it more and I realized that no, this is like a £400-500 T-shirt, and then go put it back up, and because you just want that a little bit more. But then I saw a comp for like 800. And I was like, okay, this is getting silly now. But that's the thing, like what you said with the Carhartt jacket, it can sit there for a year, 2 years, and you can still make really good money out of it. And if you've got space and if you want to sit on stuff like that, but getting that money straight back is so, so, so valuable for then going out to the car boot, because the stuff that we get, I mean, we're together pretty much every single Sunday. We see what each other gets for our money. It's ridiculous. And you think what that £400-500 or whatever it is you got back can do and go out again, crazy. But each to their own business model. But that ended up going for £500, and it didn't take that long, which means that it's probably worth £600-800. But for me, for 500 within a matter of months, I probably wouldn't even say that. I'd say probably around a month. So I could have sold it on the day for 175-200, or I could wait 1 month for 500. I'm probably gonna take the month at that, even though if you took it on the day, you still might be able to make more in that month. But
and I guess it comes on to the value of the item as well, in a sense of we all pick up these rare pieces that are harder to find. I'm really guilty though when I get these rarer stuff. I treat it like it's the best thing in the world. Like no one's ever going to find this, and I end up then doing myself a disservice by pricing like super high, where I'm like, I've got this item in my store for X amount, but then it just doesn't sell, and I end up reducing it, and finally we find the price. Like the Drogba shirt, for instance, that I showed you the other day. Great shirt, unbelievable condition. It was a £7 plus snipe on Vinted. It arrived. I've listed it up at like 189.99.
189.
Now the away shirt on its own in a medium, mine's an XL, sells for about 120. So really? I should be really going in at like 140 and getting it sold like today. But in my head, I'm like, no, but it's Drogba. Everyone loves Drogba. It's an XL. I look at all the tick boxes in my own head. That means I price high, which means people probably see it, probably say it's cool, but I don't want to spend 189 quid. Now, yes, they can make offers. Yes, they can use. And at the moment, I'm running a 30% coupon on the store. And that's another thing I want to speak about as well. When I run higher coupons in my store to try and clear stock, when I'm listing newer stuff, I tend to price a little bit higher, and that's not the right thing to do. I should be pricing at market and expecting them to use the 30% coupon and getting the stuff moving. So I need to really get out of that mindset. But sometimes I pick up items, mate, and I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. You know, when you find like a really cool item and you like it, you just price it high. So I need to really change that, because that's why I think I've got a lot of stuff in the store that's worth good money that will sell today if I just priced at market. But I'm just like, oh no, but it's all right, I can wait a little bit. But realistically, I would love that Drogba shirt to sell today for 100 quid. So I don't know.
I think as well, you said there about the kind of, we spoke about it before, like the tick sheet in your head, where you're going through all this stuff. So for instance, in my case with the Goodfellas shirt, it's like, for me, it's a bit, it doesn't help that it's a bit of nostalgia as well. You know, like it's one of your favorite films and stuff like that. You become a tiny bit attached. If it's Scarface, I'm almost like never letting it go. If it's like the ultimate, and when I say ultimate, like really sick, oversized, beautiful print, all those kind of stuff. But for me, it was like great print, great size. There was actually a couple of marks on the back as well, which blew my mind that it still went for that price. But with say you, for instance, and I'm huge on football shirts as well, especially stuff from like early 2000s, the Drogba kind of stuff. But was it like a big size? Did you say it was an away kit as well?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what it is. Let me scroll and find it.
Because an ordinary like shirt going for 120 is nuts for that time as well.
2XL.
Oh my god!
Here we go. Let me share it in for the people, just because we can. Tell me where you can see it, because I'm on a different screen.
All right, so we got Chelsea football shirt, XXL white. See what I mean? Like, this is early 2000s away kit, 2XL, fresh Drogba print on the back. Doesn't look like there's really any marks.
The printing is like mint.
But you got to think as well, if someone's got to get either a fresh away kit or something in that size, or they've got to clean it themselves, and then they've got to have the original, unless they can create those printing, like the numbers from those years and the actual nameplates. Like, it's, to me, it wouldn't surprise me if it went around that price. Well, obviously you got the coupon on anyway, but
yeah, the coupon brings it down to 132, and that ends on Sunday. So again, I'm hoping people are going to snipe that off by then. And I don't want to skip the chat, but Dan asked, why is that so special?
I was going to bring that up.
It ticks a lot of boxes. I mean, we're talking a vintage football shirt now from 2003, which is now vintage. Drogba, who, if you ask most Chelsea fans, they will tell you he's one of their greatest ever strikers. Away kit as well. The home kit is a lot more common. The away, if you get the third as well, if that was long sleeve, that would probably be double the money as well, because again, they didn't sell a lot of long sleeves. So you've just got to know all of these things when you come to buying items. You know, why can you justify that price? And I've sold football shirts for like £300. This camera keeps going off. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to resell it. I've sold football shirts for like £300 from like 1994. Do you remember the Bristol Rovers one I had, Luke? Bristol City, I think it was actually. And I look at it and I think the same. I'm like, who would pay £300 for a football shirt? But the market's out there for just fans who a bit of nostalgia, but also for the football collectors out there as well. There's a lot of people who collect shirts and want to put it in a frame on the wall as well. So you just got to know all these little nuances when buying.
I don't think it's that crazy though, because it's the biggest sport in the world. Like, obviously it's the best league in the world here, and especially when you go down to like Championship, League One, League Two, they actually get rarer and they get more expensive. I had a 1989 Scunthorpe. I had two of them. No, I had three of them.
Yeah.
And that was nuts. I think I got them for about, I think it was like 40 quid all in for like three of them. And I think the 1989 one was an away one, and it was like a 2-3XL, and that went for, I think, just under £400. But the thing is, you've got to think of the scarcity of them. You've got to think of how rare it is to have a kit from that year in that size for that team. And then if you get any sort of name on the back as well from a half decent player, bearing in mind the one that James has got is probably one of, arguably one of the best Premier League players of all time as well. So depending on who you ask. But there's just so many factors to it, and that's why we speak about this tick sheet that's constantly like in my head when I'm going around car boots, when I'm searching on Vinted, when I'm in charity shops, all these different nuances as well. Because if that's a kid's kit, it's like it's
I was
still
going to say
fairly. I mean,
the size plays a big thing. It's a 2XL as well, which is like one of the best sizes. I mean, I would say XL, 2XL, and higher are the best sizes. Large is still good, but if that was a small, that'd be priced at probably like $79.99. So the size again plays a huge part. So Luke's right. And I think about it all the time as well when buying this tick sheet in my head. You know, because you can see a banger of an item, but it could be extra small men's, and you're like, okay, so that's going to drop the price probably from, you know, probably half from what I was thinking of listing it if it was an XL. So does that still work? And also, is the extra small going to sell fast enough for what I'm looking for? And sometimes the answer is no.
I think I'm very skeptical about picking up white items as well, just because I always miss like marks on them. And to get a kit as well like that, fresh print, not many marks. If I don't know if there's anything on it.
It was.
I mean,
I couldn't believe how minty fresh it was.
That's nuts, honestly. Like to get that, and a normal shirt going for £100, like that's because I said to you when you picked it up, I think it was like a tenner all in, something like that, 750 plus whatever. I was like, mate, that has to be £100 item. But seeing that there like that, knowing the size, knowing the print, knowing the player, knowing everything about it, I don't see why it wouldn't be an actual shirt to get that value. But let me see what you guys are saying. Let's catch up on the chat anyway. Tonks. I think years ago you could survive without bangers. eBay's changed now with no fees for private sellers and Vinted. It's definitely a different time. But yeah, when you take everything into consideration, then obviously moving stuff at a pace as well. That's why I think I have to target. I have to be targeting higher level stuff. So if I'm going for the usual to bring it down to say 15 to 20, I think I need to be hitting higher, especially if I want to be moving stuff instantly as well. Because I mean, like I said, I want it to be in and out within 90 days, but ideally it needs to be more than that. Because I'm listing 12, I want to be selling at least 10 a day. So yeah, banger to me, large profit margin. 60 into 100 isn't a banger for me. 1 into 100 is a banger. Yeah, that's like what James was saying earlier. When I was reading out my bread and butter, decent, sick, unreal banger. Like it's not really about the sale. It's about what you pay for it, and you don't often see that. I mean, I try and explain and try and show what I'm paying for stuff, but it's very hard as well to see that on a video, unless first-hand car boot videos, you're seeing them exchange the money in that. But yeah, 1 into 100, that's very rare, isn't it?
It is very interesting. Like, yeah, the 1 into 100 is definitely a banger, but is 100 into 200, is that a banger?
What are you talking after fees there, though?
But this is what I'm trying to say. You're still making £100. So 1 into 100 is still £100, and you've got to pay fees. And then 100 into 200 is still £100, and then you've got to pay fees. Like, yes, the fees will work out more because it's a higher sold item. But a lot of people, when I first started reselling, a lot of people used to always say about, I want to 2x my money or 3x my money, or at least double up and stuff. And I used to think, oh, okay, that's the way to go. But if you're buying an item for £1, would you be happy for it to sell for £3? And then I thought to myself, no, of course I wouldn't. So the whole 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x thing doesn't work in every scenario. Don't get me wrong, if it's £20 and you want to 4x it and you're going to sell it for 80, that works. That makes it worthwhile. But sometimes I think a lot of people feel like, I paid £1, I've sold it for £5. That's a good sale because it's 5x the money. Well, actually, when you work it out, it's not a good sale.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, spending 100 to make 100, absolutely. But yeah, after fees and all that, it's slightly different, isn't it? Pamela, one to £2 into 50, 60 is a banger for me. That's definitely crazy margins. But yeah, that's what Pamela's criteria is for a banger. Morning, boys. Morning, Dan. JP Vintage, first time join the live chat. Lovely to see you, mate. Can I ask, as a UK seller, is it worth me joining the Tech and Sports Patreon? I'm moving into clothing, selling, and need info. As a noob at clothing, I would like UK info more than American. First of all, I wouldn't say you need to be part of any group. I mean, if you want to be part of, say, like a community and then join, say, UK related calls, and then obviously learn from people doing it at an extremely high level. And you kind of want to fast track in a way. I think that was the whole point of me joining a group. I mean, whether that's Tech's group, whether that's anyone else's group, for me, it was probably more so about community and kind of understanding things a little bit faster and learning from people that were like one step to 1,000 steps ahead of me. I don't know about you, James, when you chose to join a group.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I host a UK call, but the UK call is not a UK based clothing call. It's more about like a business call for the UK sellers. It's a community call for us to all get together, talk about what's happening within eBay UK, talk about what's happening in the businesses, support each other when we come up against issues. We're talking a lot about like things like summer slowdown and stuff. We speak about a lot of different categories, and it's a good call. But they do have a Vinted call in there, run by Shell Resells, and she goes through and talks about Vinted because it is different to eBay. And we also have Jamie in there, Sully's Vintage, who hosts the men's UK clothing call, and he has great knowledge. So you can go into his calls and learn a lot from him. The key is I always say to people, like I always say to people, like, I love being in there personally. I'm one of the call hosts, and I'm not, I don't have to say that. But what I will say, if you're looking to join a group and come in and just have a bolo list of men's clothing, it's not the group for you. You've got to take the time to be active in the group. You've got to join the calls. You've got to ask the right questions. You've got to watch the replays. And although, Tech's American, there's lots of stuff that does resonate over here as well. And I love today's call that Tech does at lunchtime, which is our 2 p.m. call. They do show and tell. So people come and share stuff they've picked up and sold or picked up and listed, normally like absolute bangers. And there's lots of stuff that I've seen the Americans pick up, and I've gone out and found them here in the UK as well. But a lot of UK people also share. So I always say to people, trial it. If you're on the fence, there's no commitment. Tech always says that if you don't make money, he will refund you. And I always say to people, give it a month, find out if it's for you. It's not for everyone, though, is what I will say. There's been people who have joined who have left because it's not for them. But I think anyone who joins, I try and say, be as active as possible as you can. Get yourself on camera, get yourself asking questions, listening to what people's experiences are. And I think it's a great community. But I will say to people, like, you're right. You don't have to be in a group to be successful doing this. I do love the community, though.
Yeah, I think there's many positives to it. So, yeah, if there's literally no risk, then why not? As a lot of you do average cost of goods, I presume when sourcing, the ticket price doesn't matter, as you will be applying your average cost of goods against the item. How does this impact working out your profit metric at source? Well, it definitely does matter. Just because I've picked up a crazy amount of cheap stuff doesn't mean I'd overpay on something else just because of the average. I'm looking at the price and the potential profit of every single item. It's just that I work on an average cost of goods overall, say for like the month or the year. How does this impact working out your profit metric at source?
I'm the same as what you just said there. For instance, if I go to the car boot and I pick up I pick up a Ralph Lauren jumper for £1 that's going to sell for £30. I won't then go off to the next item and pay £15 for a Levi's jacket that's going to sell for 25 or 20 and say, oh yeah, but overall today I've only spent £26 and I'm going to make that. I don't look at it that way. So I look at it item by item, but when it comes to working everything out, then I switch to average. So I'll come out from the car boot and I'll say, okay, today I spent £300 and I've got, 30 items, for instance. So my average cost of goods is £10 per item. So it's really weird. I kind of switch from item to item to then calculating and working out as an average. That's the way I do it.
Yeah, which I think is important as well. Like searching on Vinted, going to charity shops, going to car boots. Yeah, you need to know that that's going to be an item worth picking up. Just because you picked up a crazy amount of cheap items. Oh, this one's on the fence. You know what? Overall, we're going to be okay. But no, that doesn't work for me, to be honest. To be thing is, every one banger will be different due to their business models. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying earlier. So my criteria, I was only having a little joke with the whole decent, sick, unreal thing, but overall, like, yeah, I mean, everyone's business model is entirely different. That's why I said I initially come to the table thinking, oh, just about profit. But then you get ideas from, say, James and other people in the chat, speed of stuff, how things are stored. That's massively important for me. I didn't even think about that till just now. So
it's also important to state as well, like if you're a media seller or if you're like a card seller, for instance, okay, you might be going out and you might be getting 20,000 CDs like delivered to you on a pallet. Okay. Now, each of them CDs you might be listing up on average, your average CD price might be £6, £7. You're going to have some absolute crazy CDs in there worth. And the thing is, in the media game, a crazy CD might be £15, £20, but your cost of goods might be at a penny. So for them, they might say, when I sell a CD for £20, that is a banger. But to me, selling a item of clothing at £20 is definitely not a banger. So it's all subjective based on your business. And for them, they'll be listing, like I said, some of the media people are listing like 200 a day. So it does depend business to business. And I think that's really important as well. And we spoke about it last week, and I've been speaking about this quite a bit. You need to find out what works for you and your business and not focus on everyone else's business and what they do as well. Because like I say, Luke might say £70 profit is unreal. I might actually say £70 profit is average. I'm not saying that, by the way, but it's so subjective. So yeah, it's just an open conversation. You really got to work out what works for you in your business.
And it might work as well with bulk buying. And I don't think he would mind me saying, actually, no, he wouldn't mind me saying this anyway. Simon, Gentleman Marketeer, he has a deal with a charity shop and he'll basically buy in bags, women's clothing. So they will cost him a certain amount, say 50 to £75 for him for 15, 20 bags. It might even be more than that. And it works out per item, I think, 20 to 50p, something like that.
Yeah.
And then he'll go through the bags. And then a lot of it, he'll take cash for clothes and he'll get about 30 to 50 quid back. Mm-hmm. And then basically within the stuff that he keeps, he'll distribute, between, say, like eBay, if he's selling, I don't think he sells much on Vinted at all, but he'll like be putting those on eBay and he'll try and obviously recoup that money. But within that, the cost of goods are ridiculously low. But for that bulk buyer, it might be that anything that sells for £10 plus is a banger within that model. So
and it's really important to note as well with that kind of thing, if Simon's paying £75 for the bag, and it works out as, say, if we just said 50p an average cost of goods for the bag. And I know Simon doesn't do this, but a lot of people will then say, every item I list on eBay, it's only cost me 50p. But if you only pull out 10 items from that bag and the rest you're getting rid of a cash for clothes, you might get £20, £30 back. Your cost of goods have gone sky high for them items you're putting on eBay. So you hear a lot of people just say, oh, I brought a big bundle of stuff that only owes me 50p. Well, it only owes you 50p if you have listed the rest of the stuff. If you took the rest of the stuff down the tip, it doesn't owe you 50p. It might owe you £50. So yeah, keep that in mind when buying the bulk stuff.
My best item I found recently was a vintage 1960s. Oh God, Grenfell shooting jacket in a charity shop. That must have gone for, wait. Pay £10 listed for 600 or best offer. Yeah, that sounds good. I haven't come across many of them, but wow.
And it's interesting when Tonks, let us know, James or Sarah, which either one it is, you're on the PC, let us know. When you say or best offer, what would you take on that? If someone offered you £300 today, would you accept? I'll be interested to know, because I always get to this thing where I list things up for that kind of money. And I'm like, if someone offers me £500, I would accept today. And then the offer comes in at £450, and I'm like, oh, do I accept? And then I remember, James, you pay 10 quid. Just accept the offer. So yeah, let us know what you would accept on it.
How did you recognize they were vintage shirts for Goodfellas and Scarface? See, with this one, the tag was different, and you'd probably be able to find it on the eBay comps. But let me see if I can get it up. Actually, it was just totally different to anything I'd seen. Because usually, what I look out for is, say, like Fruit of the Loom, Hanes, and I kind of know Brockham. I kind of know those tags. And then you would go to, you kind of know those tags, whether they're 90s or whatever. And then you look for some sort of licensing. And then maybe you would look at whether it's single stitch or not. And then you maybe take a little look at the graphics on it. So, but this one was different. But to me, it just looked like a promo shirt. So let me try and get this up.
The answer for this as well, Dan, is, and it's probably not the answer that people want to hear, it's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of research where you can do a deep dive on Hanes tags, on Gildan tags, on Fruit of the Loom tags. You can work out the ears and stuff. You can working out what single stitch took me ages. I still couldn't figure it out. Same as selvage when it comes to jeans. It took me ages to actually for it to click and to say, oh, okay, now I can spot it from looking at it compared to having to unfold it, etc. But it just takes the commitment to learn. And when me and Luke were doing the research sessions, that part of it was that to actually just improve the knowledge every single day.
Anyway, no, I actually whacked it up to 700 and then took a £500 offer. So, but yeah, this was the print on the front. Absolutely gorgeous. Like blended in as well. No like square, no nothing. It was, oh my God. It's actually on a Delta tag. So I hadn't done much research on Delta before. And it wasn't a made in USA. It was assembled in Honduras. But I'd seen a couple of Delta tags, but there was no licensing. There was just that. And it was just purely from doing additional parts of research. But this had a repair on it. It had a mark on the thing. But yeah, like we were saying, how do you tell? Like what I was saying previously, that's usually how I tell. But this was different. And it's great because it was different. I had to do a little bit more research. And now I know, you know, that Delta tag, and then I'll know in the future if it kind of looks like a promo t-shirt for the film. But yeah, it was different. But I'd say to get a grasp on your most common vintage tags first, and then licensing and things like that, recognizing like potential fakes, and then you'll be pretty much geared up for the majority of it. But ones like that will come up, they will stump you. But yeah.
The great thing is as well, if you go onto Google and type in Delta tag history, people have done the hard work for you. There's a website called Defunct. Just by typing in Google Delta tag history here, it shows me the 2002 tags, 2004, 2009, 2013. So you can quickly determine what age it is as well.
Yeah, that's a really good resource. I think there's that, and there may be a few more, but yeah, just doing that, or just straight dragging ChatGPT and then asking it whatever you want to ask and going back and forth. That's been a massive resource. And James actually said when we was diving into women's clothes, he sent me a dress types kind of like web page, and it had pretty much every single dress type possible. Now I haven't gone on that on ages because I literally just like screenshot it, multiple different angles, put it in ChatGPT, and then ask it like length, style, and just any other potential keywords that there are. Like, and we'll probably do a call on how we use AI or ChatGPT and stuff like that in the future. But yeah,
I'm using it every day now, like for listings.
Okay. Morning, Hunley.
Hi, Hunley.
If I could find vintage chili peppers teas all the time, I'd be very rich, man. £500 every item would be nice, but I'll take the unicorns every now and then. Yeah, and that's the thing. Every now and then. I mean, if I go back on my monthly sales charts and stuff like that, it's few and far between, especially ones like that. I mean, I've had a couple, probably over £300 maybe last month, maybe this month. It's very few and far between, but I'm just trying to get that average up, I'd say overall. What would you say? Just trying to increase it as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, and it is great when you have them banger sales, as we call it, but you need the like bread and butter sales, the 20, 30, 40 pound sales as well to help your store tick over, because Husty's right. If we could all fill our stores with vintage red hot chili pepper shirts that sell overnight for £500 a piece, we'd all do it. But the issue comes back to who's got a warehouse full of them. And you know what? There is a warehouse out there full of them shirts sitting there collecting dust. So who can find them first is going to be the answer.
This is what I mean. When people put them up, like the woman who had the Goodfellas shirt For some reason, I didn't take. There was that and an Exorcist promo shirt because it was exactly the same style, and I didn't want it just purely because I loved the look of the Goodfellas one and I wanted it for myself. Didn't realize the significance of it. But she just had that. She had two of those. I mean, the Exorcist shirt, I don't know how much that would have been, but it might have been similar. And that's like, that could have potentially been, say, £700-800 just sitting there that she's put up for £2 a shirt. They're out there. And I mean, you went out.
You can't know everything. That's the important thing to mention while we're talking about research. Like, there's stuff that you just don't know because you've never come across it before. But I hope what you've done after missing out on the exit, I hope you've done research on it, because that's what I would do. I would say, like, oh, although I've missed out on it, although it's going to hurt, because you might research that and realize that was £1,000 t-shirt. It's gonna hurt, but at least you know if I ever see it again, you won't have to double think.
Yeah, similar as well. It was on a Delta tag. It pretty much had every like all the same stuff. It was nuts. Goodfellas, Scarface, Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, all in my top 10 movies. Yeah, if you could have t-shirts like that, De Niro stuff. Oh, let me go back.
Do you know what? I've never seen Goodfellas or Scarface.
Shut up.
Never seen.
You're joking.
I think I've seen Taxi Driver once, but I've never seen Goodfellas and Scarface or The Godfather. Never seen that. Is that bad? Should I get to watching?
Godfather, I think I saw it years and years ago. It's one of the best films of all time.
No.
And Scarface is literally, I'd probably say that, Schindler's List. What else? I really like The Green Book. If anyone hasn't seen that, really watch that. They're probably like top 3 for me. Absolutely.
Do you like Love Actually? Love Actually?
I don't think I've seen that.
What?
I think, no, what did I watch? It was like, no, The Holiday. I'd never seen that until Christmas. And that's a pretty good film.
Love Actually is better, but let's move on. This is not film review.
What's Andy saying? So in reality, you only apply the average cost of goods against the sale. I lose my head with this stuff. Cost of goods against the sale and not at the point of purchase. That's so strange. You'll never truly know what you're making on a particular item. I just don't do it item per item. I mean, I don't know if I'm reading it. How do you read that?
Yeah, no, I know what Andy's saying. Andy was saying, like, if you're not working out the average per item when you buy it, how you ever going to truly know is how I'm reading that. But I think when it comes down to it at the end of the day, when it comes down to working out what you've got at the end, I think what it is, and Andy, if I'm understanding it right, I think what it is for me, if I'm buying an item for £10, I need to make sure it's going to hit my £15 minimum metric, is what I look at. But then when you work out everything, you do the average at the end. But I don't know if I'm understanding that right.
Basically, what I think you have exactly the same spreadsheet as me. Every time I buy something, it goes in the spreadsheet. And then I put my sales in there, and then I get an average cost of goods at the end of it. And then I look that up with my ASP, kind of like at the end of the month. And I basically get a rough average. I don't have time to be putting in every single one. I've been doing this for, not that I'm hugely experienced, I'm only like 2-3 years into this, but I get a rough average. And then I kind of know where I'm at the end of the year. And then I look at it with my accountant, and I'm usually around that point. I mean, whether like if I'm a few £100 or even like 1,000 off or something like that, I'm okay with that. I roughly know profits of items and stuff like that. I'm not massive with spreadsheets. I'm not massive with like, I roughly know my numbers. I don't kind of like dial in, like maybe not as much as I should, but I'm there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I think it'd be very, I don't know. I see it a different way to Andy. I think it's very hard to look at just the average when you buy stuff, because like I said, like I could pick up a pair of we use Ralph Lauren again, a Ralph Lauren shirt that I know is going to sell for £12, £13, maybe £14, for instance. Okay, I'm not going to say let me spend £7 on that, because the rest of the items I've got today, my average is so low anyway. So let me spend a bit more on this one. I don't look at it that way. I do look at it from item by item, but when I record it, I work on the average. Maybe that's the wrong way to do it. I don't know. It's just a different way, maybe.
All right. Yeah, I think Hunley's got an input as well. I work out my cost of goods on items listed, not on items sourced. I use averages because I'm building a machine and not an item by item business.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Items listed works out the average based on that. Because I guess that's the stuff that's potentially going to make you money. Anything unlisted is just money, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean, when I come back from car boot, I'll do the average of that, and then I'll input it because I mean, it just goes on the pile there. It's getting listed like within a matter of days anyway. Nothing's really unlisted, to be honest. Let me just see. Actually, no, I've got to backtrack. Oh, we've gone through the Scarface and that. News, clothing, and researching is becoming my favorite pastime. Love it. It was never like that as an everything seller. I mean, you probably, I don't know. People love the thrill of the hunt. They love coming across something new. And say with the likes of James and the people doing YouTube videos, it makes it a little bit more entertaining as well. And they get that kind of. Some people get that thrill of it. It makes it more enjoyable for them. For me, not so much. But with an everything stuff, I see it as well. Like I'm starting from scratch, especially with like the research side of things. So I would be very much like scattered all over the place if I was researching everything stuff. But with clothing or being in one niche, I think I can just get more dialed into that. So if I sit down for research, I'll look at like different aspects, say like jackets, jumpers, all that kind of stuff, and whether it's men's or women's, and I can get kind of dialed in and then go down like different rabbit holes. But I mean, do you kind of feel like that picking up the everything stuff? Because I know you kind of gear towards everything stuff that you've kind of picked up before, I would say. I don't know if you veer off that much.
In a way, yeah. And I agree with Dan. I've spent more time doing research on clothing than I ever did as an everything seller. And I can tell you why. Because there's more nuances when it comes to clothing. There's more things on the tick list you need to get. Okay, if I go out and I'm looking for a Nintendo Wii console, it's a Nintendo Wii. It doesn't matter whether it's a Nintendo Wii on your stall or the next stall. If I look at clothing, there could be a Scarface t-shirt. One can be made 2 years ago. One could be made 30 years ago. I don't want to pick up the one that's made 2 years ago. I want to pick up the one that's made 30 years ago. So there's a lot more nuances when it comes to clothing than the everything stuff. And most of the everything stuff I used to pick up used to be stuff you can either scan or has a code on it. You know, like an Olympus Mew one. You can quickly type that into eBay. Olympus Mew one. Okay, they're all Olympus Mew ones. Your next tick is this working or is this not working? Okay, I need to pay the money and assume it's not working. If it's working, it's a bonus. That's the two tick lists. That's it. I think with clothing, there's a lot more. You're looking more for like things like damage. And yes, you are going to look for stuff like that on camera. You're looking at the style. You're looking at the size. You're looking at the graphic print. You're looking at marks, etc. And you're looking at sell-through a lot more as well. So I agree with Dan there. I've spent more time researching clothing than I ever did as an everything seller. A Nerf gun's a Nerf gun at the end of the day. It's just a different model. That's it.
How long has it been since you picked up a Nerf gun?
How long has it been? A couple of months, maybe.
I was going to say, I remember when we was at Dunton, and then I was like, there you go.
I picked one up at Dunton, but I gave it to my little sister. It was a massive one.
To be honest, I've not thought about it. This is on the jacket, isn't it? I can't find anything similar. I'm in no rush for the money, so happy to wait out. I'll hope for 400-ish before. What did she pay for it again?
£10.
Nuts.
400-ish show. Again, like I said, I bet if a £350 offer comes in today, you're going to be like, oh, do you know what? 10 into free. And that's the thing, isn't it? You've got so much margin there. You're more open to accepting a lower offer than what you listed. If you had paid £100 for that jacket and listed it for 600 and the offer comes in at 300, you might be more tempted to counter back at 4. So again, your cost of goods is so important when it comes to accepting offers as well, I feel.
It's beautiful having that big potential margin as well. ChatGPT is limited to X amount of photos per day. I often use Copilot. I've never heard of Copilot. Yeah, I know that you are limited. So when I'm on a big old listing day and then I'm dragging some pictures in and double checking some stuff or trying to find out some keywords, I don't know how many you get before it stops you, but
I think
do you know roughly how many it is?
I think with the photos, I pay for ChatGPT, and I think with the photos, I haven't worked out. I think it's 100 photos, and it basically puts a block on it for like 2 hours. So what I've started to do now, Tonks, is I do 4 photos. So I do the front, the back, the tag, and the care label, and they're the 4 photos I drag into it. I used to drag like the maximum of 10, and then after 10 lots of doing it, it would freeze me out. So by doing 4, I'm getting nearly 3 times the amount of stuff, and that's normally enough for my listings for the day anyway. So just a little tip.
Morning, lads. Are you going to give Monster List AI a go? Carbeat Chris has got a sign-up deal. There's free listings for 2 weeks. Monster List AI. I'm guessing this is the listing AI software.
I've not seen a lot about it. I know Chris done a video on it. I've not seen it. Yeah, I think if there's a 2-week free trial, people should consider giving it a go. I think AI is the future when it comes to this kind of stuff. AI is getting smarter and smarter. But honestly, right now, I'm finding ChatGPT is enough for what I need to do personally. Like, it's so quick and easy, I find. And I was thinking about their AI listing tools the other day, because obviously Tech's got his one and it's going to come over to the UK soon as well. And I was thinking, at the moment, I'm doing like 12 items a day. I don't need a listing tool right now.
Yeah.
If I'm using a listing tool, you better believe I need to have stock available to move up to 30. Like, to do 12 items a day at the moment using ChatGPT is honestly taking me like an hour. It's so quick. So, yeah, I don't know at the moment. I might sign up for the 2 weeks and give it a go.
I think for me, when I come back, because I usually get a lot of stock on a Sunday, and then stuff gets delivered on the Monday. So on the Sunday when I come back from the car boot, I'll lay it all out. It's prepped on the pile, ready to go. And then on the Monday, say pick up the Vinted stuff and then go on like a mass picturing session. I think once all those pictures are done and transferred, say if it's like 100, 120, something like that, the listing software would be perfect for that point, because then my day potentially is sat here listing all day. That would be taken away. So that would be beautiful. But
would you use the listing software for 10 items or 12 items?
No, if it was on a daily basis, I mean, it doesn't take much time at all. But for that, if you was doing it in bulk, that would help out massively.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you was to use a listing software where you're paying 50p a listing, what numbers would you have to go up in your business? Because you wouldn't do it at 15 a day, potentially. Well, you might. I don't know. Would you say my business needs to get to like doubling up to justify using a software?
I'd probably think so. I think I would need to experience probably 20 doing it myself, maybe a little bit. But I think I would probably like to at that point. But it still wouldn't be that long. So I don't know. I'm very excited to see what it's like, whether I would adopt it on a daily basis, or maybe the thing is, because I am sourcing daily, but I get the majority of stuff on a Sunday. That's obviously going to change when we go into the winter. But at the minute, what it feels like is I'm getting a lot of stuff on the weekend. The pile is huge. I do a mass picturing session, a little bit on a Sunday, then majority of it on a Monday. And then they're all on the laptop ready to go for me to sit down and draft or list. At that point, the software would be unbelievably perfect, because my day is done in a matter of minutes rather than me sitting here for a whole day. So for that, but that routine is going to change. So probably being 20 plus, then I'll probably consider using it daily. But yeah, I don't know. And this whole Monster AI, to be honest, I've never heard of it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's got any feedback. I don't know if anyone's using it in the minute on a trial basis. If anyone is, pop it in the chat. Let me know what you think about it, because we've been very excited for.
Tonks is saying there, Monster AI equals 50p extra cost of goods onto every item. £100 listings equals £50. 1,000 listings equals 500. It's a quick listing from templates. Don't see the benefit. So I only see the benefit of using any form of tool if it's going to free up time for you to put into different places that's going to make you money. And that's what's really important, because if you think about it, so if you was to hire a member of staff to do your listings, it's going to probably cost you more than 50p per item when it comes to the listing format. And I know people have used VAs, and honestly, I've heard horror stories about VAs when you use VAs from like Indonesia, where due to like language barrier difficulties as well, there's so many mistakes and you spend half your time actually correcting mistakes. So I've never wanted to go down the VA route. But if I was going to use a AI listing tool, it would be to free up time to either invest that time into the eBay business or invest that time into the YouTube side, because I couldn't just use the software and do the same what I'm doing now. And that's really important. And also what we've spoke about before, and maybe we'll do an episode on AI. I think it'd be quite cool. What we spoke about before, I think this would encourage me also to only pick up the good stuff all the time. because I would always add 50p onto my cost of goods. So now
That's the
when
way
you're
I see
picking
it.
up a Ralph Lauren polo shirt for £2 at the car boot and you're going to probably get £14 maybe, you're now at £2.50. And although it doesn't sound a lot, it would make me question it a bit more. And I'd probably leave that plain polo shirt on the floor for someone else. So yeah, as long as you can justify the cost by investing time elsewhere to make you even more money that's going to free up you more time, I think it's great. But as I said, if I'm doing 10 or 12 a day, I can't justify using any form of software apart from ChatGPT, because actually it doesn't take me long enough. Where, like, for instance, when Simon done his experiment of doing 30 a day, if he was to use AI software, that would be good value for money, because it would free up hours and hours and hours of his time. But let's not forget, it's only one part of the process. You've still got to do your photographs. So if you bump up to 40, 50 a day because you've got software, can you still go and do 50 photographs every single day? Can you put away 50 items every single day? Can you ship 50 items every single day? Because you've got to remember, and also the last thought on that, can you afford 50 items a day? Because you're paying for a software, but you're also having to pay for 5x what you're doing already. Have you got the cash flow to do that? So it's all things you need to think about before jumping in. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, any new software, there's going to be people who love it. There's going to be people who hate it. But what I will say is the people who aren't embracing AI in some aspects in their lives, I believe are going to be left behind.
Especially in this industry, especially what we're all in, 100%. Well, whether it's Monster AI, whether it's Better Lister, whatever it is, this is the very beginning. So I think, what was it, Tonks put, no guarantee of items that you list with Monster AI will sell. And the thing is, these, I mean, I know Tex is going to be like pricing it based, and price is subjective as well. That's the thing.
It's the pricing thing for anything like this AI tool. You have to check your own pricing anyway, because like your t-shirt you showed earlier, the AI might price that at 175. So you've still got to do extra research on top. For the people who are using it and just not checking over things and clicking submit, they're going to be the people who are moaning that they got sniped on items, it's sold too quickly, it's sold too cheaply, or I've got items sitting there. So you've still got to do your checks as well. I love the software idea. I just can't justify it while I'm at the level I'm at now. When it comes over, when tech software comes over, for instance, I would have to look at my business and say, can I afford to go up to 20, 30 a day? And it'd have to be that. And I'd have to be able to justify the price.
But I'm like you, I look at it, one aspect is the time saved. So like you said there, go to YouTube. For me, maybe different avenues outside of what I'm doing. And then the second one as well, I don't look at what Tonks is saying with £100 or 100 listings, 50,000 listings, 500. I literally look at that first bit, exactly what you're saying there, 50p, an extra 50p onto the cost of goods. And if your knowledge is constantly improving and improving, an extra 50p shouldn't be a deal breaker. But you could literally just use this as just, I don't know, being slightly lazy, just like you don't want to spend as much time. And then, you know, you don't want to spend as much time on.
Sorry to interrupt. Going on to the lazy part, that's the scary part, because this is going to put people out of business. Because if you're just using it from a lazy aspect and you're still listing stuff that doesn't sell, has a slow sell through, that isn't a good brand, that people do not want, you've overpriced it, you are just going to be sinking thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds into a software with the same results.
Do you know what scares me even more than that, though? Imagine you double your listings. Like you double your listings, but the quality, your store's already bloated. You're trying to chase sales. You're running out of space. You double your listings. Your knowledge hasn't improved, and you go out and grab the same stuff just because you want to be done quicker or you want to kind of like double up. It's going to be an absolute shit show.
Do you know what I think is going to happen? I think more people are going to be more open to picking up stuff they would normally leave behind based on the software. So they'll go to the charity shop, they'll pick up an item for £2 that they can sell for 10. They normally wouldn't pick it up, but they will justify it to say, oh yeah, but it's going to cost me £2.50 and the software is going to do all the work. And I think the AI software is going to put a lot of people out of business. So I would just say be super careful with it. I think the software's great, the idea is great, but if you're just listing crap stuff in your store, the software's not going to make it sell. It's not a a software that boosts your eBay traffic. It's meant to make life easier. It's meant to free up time, but you've got to have the right stuff in there. And I've spoke to you about it before, haven't I, with regards to if you've got X amount of credits to use a month, you better believe that the stuff that I picked up that is a mistake, has got a hole in it, that isn't worth as much a fault, that ain't getting put in the software. My punishment for picking up that shit is I'm having to manually list it. But some people will just put everything through the software. It'll come to the end of the month. They've spent £700 on listings. They've done, 1,000 listings more than they normally would, but they've spent £700, wherever it is. And then they'll quickly realize that all this stuff's still not selling. So, yeah, I think if you've got a 2-week trial, use it, but just be mindful of the stuff that you're putting through the software. And if that stuff is just sitting around doing nothing, maybe it's not the right time. For me at the moment, not the right time to use software. I'm not listing enough. But I want to get to the point in the future it is. But what I don't want to do is get to the point of the quality goes down. I'm paying money for a software. So this is where knowledge comes in. Do you free up your time, spend more time on knowledge? Do you free up your time, spend more time on sourcing? Do you go to an extra 2 or 3 car boot sales or an extra 10 charity shops during a week, knowing that your listings now take you 10 minutes compared to 2 hours? So I think you have to really analyze your whole business before you just jump in 2-footed.
I'm thinking, say for instance, if we have it here now, based on the kind of routine that I'm in at the minute, going out, getting basically a bulk load on a Sunday throughout the week, mass picturing day on, say, like a Monday, for me, using it then seems like ideal. And then possibly going through doing research during the week, trying to get better. I think if you're good, you're going to be great. Like, this is going to make you great. If you're bad, and then you amplify that by, say, like doubling listings, what I was talking about earlier, it's going to absolutely finesse your store. Like, it's not going to go great. So I'll just be very careful either way that you do. Because I'm just scared of people wanting to double their store or double their sales and stuff, when really they should be concentrating on just getting better in general.
What I will say as well, and we've come on here before and we've said about eBay's failures and eBay's not doing great. What I will say is eBay is definitely improving their own internal stuff when picking up on items as well. The amount of check boxes at the top now for the item specifics that eBay's actually getting correct is incredible. So I don't know if you've noticed it now, but when you list an item, you used to have 2 or 3 of the check boxes, normally size, color, it would pick up.
Yeah.
Now it's picking up 12 to 15. And when I'm looking at them, I'm going it's personalized, no, vintage, no.
They're all bang
and
on, though.
I'm literally, I would say 99.9% are bang on. So
it's never been like that
itself. And so even that is speeding up. So look, I think eBay's moving with the times. I think eBay, from a UK perspective, is seeing how easy it is for Vinted listers and how they're in and out, and that's why people are using it. So Vinted eBay are kind of saying, let's make it easier for you. Yeah, let's use more AI ourselves. And don't get me wrong, the eBay AI description, if anyone uses this, apologies, my opinion is absolutely shit. All right, do not use the AI description. It makes your item sound like it's the best thing ever. I think it's terrible. But the fact that eBay's picking up all of these item specifics for me is a big win as well. So using ChatGPT and using what eBay's recommended has sped up the listings. But all this technology is in the early stages. It's just going to get better and better.
Let me catch up on the chat. These are obviously on previous conversations, but we'll get back to some of the AI stuff as well down the line. I've noticed a trend recently of some resellers pivot into hard goods, tech, etc. Do you think the clothing reselling game is getting harder and more diluted in your experience? In my personal experience, I go out and I have to filter so much, Charlotte. When I go to car boots, when I'm on Vinted, when I go into charity shops, especially, trying to filter down and look at these nuances, like what we're speaking about earlier with the football shirts, with the vintage tees, looking at sizing, material, condition, style, everything, brand, making sure that these tick boxes are as many of them are ticked off as possible, and then making sure that it's cheap enough so that if I want to shave off a bit of margins, get it moving quick enough, I can, to still hit the average profit that I want. Yeah, it's very difficult, but I don't know. That's why knowledge and experience plays a massive part in it. So yeah, it sounds boring and it's a bit it's not a great answer, but just being involved in it and getting your research up and just, that's why for me, niching down is so important. I can't be scattered everywhere. Me personally, I just can't, because like I need to be involved in that niche enough so that I can go out and select this stuff to make it easier. But getting harder, maybe, but
I think everything's going up as well. The amount that eBay is charging us to promote a listing, you're having to promote higher to remain more competitive for a lot of people as well. And I guess with learning, Charlotte, it comes in time where, like Luke, you used to pick up lots of like Under Armour, like heat gear and cold gear tops. And now, even if you see them at the car boot for a couple of quid, you don't pick them up. Where beforehand, you used to be all over them. And that's because your knowledge has improved. And you say, I don't want to do the whole £2 into £10 model. Because once everything has come out, you're making like a few quid and it's not really worth it. So I see a lot of people, including myself, I'm picking up a lot more of the hard goods stuff again now alongside the clothing. My clothing knowledge has gone from 0 to, look, I'm not the best clothing knowledge person, but my knowledge has improved incredibly by actually dedicating time to it. But I think you can do it in any niche. But I also feel, for me, sometimes at the car boot especially, it's what's there. I mean, this Sunday, 4:15 in the morning, the first thing I brought was Pokemon Burger King toys, 11 of them in the box. Paid 100 quid.
Nuts.
Now, I've sold them before. I know what they go for. On average, they go for anywhere from £40 to £60 a piece. They want £100 for the whole box of 11. That's not clothing, but I'm also not a fool. So that was the first thing I got in the field in Dunton for £100. So I think sometimes you've got to get what is there as well. But interestingly enough, if you had seen them first, Luke, would you have brought them?
What you mean with my knowledge?
Yeah,
Pokemon?
so because the funny thing is in that conversation, neither of us were filming, so we can't show it. But we were looking at clothing, and the woman said to me, she was like, "Oh, it's just clothing you do?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, mainly. I do a few other bits." And the guy went, "What about Pokemon stuff? I've got some new Pokemon stuff here." And I was thinking like booster boxes. I thought I've hit the jackpot. And then he pulled out these 11 figures. And as I said, because of what you mentioned earlier, because I've sold them before, I remember they're collectible. They're from 1999, the vintage. Pokemon at the moment is absolutely booming. And she said to me, "Oh, I've seen this one on eBay go for like 80 to £100, I think she said, the Pikachu sealed one." And in my head, I thought, oh, they're going to want like £300 for the whole box here. And I asked the question. They were like 120 for the whole box, and we got it for 100. But yeah, I'm interested to know whether, if that conversation would have been with you and she says, "We've got some Pokemon stuff here," would you have jumped at the chance? What would you have done in that situation? Because that's not clothing, but you've got a great opportunity there to make potentially like £200-300 profit.
Yeah, and it's like, I think last week I was talking about the golf bag, which, by the way, I'm keeping. And I would look at the box. I'd see that it's boxed. I would turn it around. I would have seen that it said trademark year 2000 on it, and then it had Burger King. So it's not your Tops. It's not your like traditional kind of brand. It's 25 years old. And then that would probably pique my interest to look it up, which I don't like looking stuff up. I'd like to just know, pay, and then go and whatever. But I mean, what did she say? She said one was worth like £100. So I probably do minimal research on it and then just either pull the trigger or not. But for me, it was small. It would go into the storage system, because this is how my brain works. Like, it goes into system. It will still go in. You probably have to put that stuff in a box. But yeah, like for you, perfect. For me, I probably still would. £100 into potentially 400-500.
And I think that's the key, like, regardless. And I struggled this for ages when I moved to clothing, how I'm like a niche seller now. I'm a clothing seller. Everything else I need to just zone out and ignore. But now I'm just open. And don't get me wrong, at the car boot, I still pick up like 90% clothing, maybe even 95%. Most of the stuff that you saw me buy was clothing. Apart from, I brought a little TV. Remember the black and white TV? Guess what? That's still in the car. I picked up this board game here. That still needs to be listed. I picked up some ice skates that are going to get listed today. And the rest of the stuff, I picked up some caps. The rest of the stuff was all clothing, apart from the Pokemon stuff. So again, I feel like I'm a lot more open. I think with the times now, I think you've got to be. Because if you go around the car boot and you haven't found enough of what your normal niche is, maybe on the second lap, you just need to open up and learn some other stuff as well, potentially. If that's what you want to do. For some people, nightmare, because putting them Pokemon balls in a box, they don't want to do that.
I think you hit the nail on the head there as well, because you just said if you don't get enough. I get enough when we go out on a Sunday. If I woke up later and I went to my local one, I'd probably still get enough. But if I went to a smaller one, i.e., and I keep talking about every week, if I go to the Chelmsford one every single week, unless I don't think I would get enough, because it basically, like, everyone's setup is pretty small, like go from one end to the other, like, and I managed to. I was in the back of some woman's van. She let me. I don't just dive. I don't boot dive or anything like that.
I was about to call you out and call you an absolute scum.
No, so basically, like, I got extremely lucky with that. Without that, absolutely no chance. That I would have to source a lot during the week, but that's what I mean. If you don't get enough, I'm just zeroing in on clothing. I see like Sega Mega Drive. I walk past it. I don't even care about it, which a lot of you would probably cringe at, but I just don't. I'm just so focused on the rails, the top of the tables. That's where my focus is. As soon as I decided that was it for me, as soon as I got my storage system, a photo set up, everything done, it was a little bit difficult in the beginning, but now I'm just like that. But if I see something like what you just said, or say the McLaren flasks that are brand new that can go in my bags in the poly mailer, stuff like that, I don't really pass it up, even being 99.9% clothing. So yeah. Do you think there's a chance of people getting in trouble with eBay if they go from this really interests me, actually, going from 10 items a day to using listing tool and doing it? I think that's going to flag. Personally, I think that it does seem very, very, very suspicious on their front. And I can't remember who said it on like maybe an Instagram story or something like that, but they worded it perfectly, where it just seems strange. And I don't know, mate, like even jumping from say 12 to 20, I don't know if that's like a flag.
I think a 12 to 20 flag is not. I think even a 10 to 30, I don't think it's going to flag as much. But yeah, I agree, Matt. If you're going from 10 to 100, like, I think it could flag. So I would never do that. But to be fair, I wish I could go from 10 to 100 today, because it's a conversation you have to have with yourself. But I would honestly still do 100, put them in your draft bank, but maybe just do smaller jumps, 10 to 20 for a week, 20 to 30 for the next week, 30 to 40 for the next week. Have it in your draft bank and slowly build up to that 100. But yeah, I've heard horror stories of where people have listed like a crazy amount of items over a short amount of period, and eBay's flagged up, and then you start getting the eBay questions. Have you got a receipt for this? Have you got this? Have you got that? Have you got this? Next thing you know, you got the ban. And yeah, so it's a good point, Matt. Thanks for sharing that. Again, only what we recommend. Everyone can do what they want to do. I would go from 10 to 100 using the AI tool personally.
I think it's a great question. And it's something for people to definitely be skeptical of, or just be aware of it, because it's a huge jump, especially something like that. It also says I've got a massive backlog, working a full-time job. If I could list 50 items a day using AI, it would be beneficial for me. Yeah, like what we're saying, as long as they're good items in the backlog as well, and don't clog up your store and stuff like that. But yeah.
Also, if you're not reliant, like Matt's saying there, he's got a full-time job. He's not. Matt, you might be. I'm sure you're not if you've got a full-time job. You're not reliant on eBay money. It's kind of like the side hustle, which is great, because all of that money you can probably just reinvest into the business anyway. So I think for someone like you, the AI tool makes more sense than people who are doing it also full-time as well, personally. For that reason, you can wake up in the morning before you go into your office or whatever you do as a job, and you can have your 30, 40 listings done in the space of 10, 15 minutes. But again, you've still got to do your pictures. And that's the next thing I was going to speak about as well. With the AI listing tool, I also think more people will start hiring photographers, because they'll want to take away the whole eBay process. And then all they've got to focus on then is sourcing stock. And that's where my head always went to first. The first thing I would hire would be not a lister, but a photographer. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you feel that when in the future you have this AI tool, do you think you would not hire at all now a photographer, because you would then just put the time into doing that yourself? Or do you think you'd want to outsource the photography as well and just spend all your time focusing on sourcing and other aspects of your life?
kind of if you're looking at business aspects and like outsourcing and stuff like that, freeing up more time, as long as it makes sense overall, then yeah, definitely someone to do the picturing. But I think if you take away pretty much the whole of the listing process, which takes longer than picturing and is very, very mundane for me anyway, I don't enjoy it one bit. Picturing, I could do for hours and hours and hours. Doesn't really do too much to me.
We're so
I
different.
actually,
It's funny. We're so
yeah,
different.
it's a complete opposite. Completely flip it. But that's the beautiful thing, that this software, whether it's the early stages or the latter stages, whatever it is coming in, and it will be a staple. Like, it will be here to stay, and everyone will be using it at some point. Is great that it's for that side of things. I don't know how it would work with picturing. Maybe it happens one day. Don't really know how it could, but yeah. So then, I'll just be doing that, and then it'll be freeing up more time overall. But eventually, yeah, because if you get someone in to do picturing, then you teach them, say, like, you don't even need to teach them listing. You'll just need to teach them maybe just double checking the price, and that will be pretty much be it. Double checking the price, because the tool will do everything else, and then they'll just be needed to be taught how to do shipping and the other aspects whilst you're potentially out there sourcing. So it's exciting.
One thing I've learned from you and Simon, especially from having conversations with you as well, when it comes to pricing as well, you guys list a lot of the same things, so you kind of already know the price. I think Simon more so, where he doesn't spend a crazy amount of time like researching the pricing now. He's listing a lot of the similar things. And I'm still not in that mindset. I mean, don't get me wrong. No, I've got, again today, I've got, I think 12 Ralph Lauren shirts that need listing up, but all of them are going up at a fixed price. Now, don't get me wrong. The green one might be worth a couple more pound than the pink one, for instance, but they're all going up at a fixed price. And that's the way I'm going to price it. But when it comes to pricing, how much time do you spend per item? Or is it kind of rare that you actually spend time doing the research on pricing? Like, for instance, that band, the Goodfellow shirt, you would spend time looking at that. But for a 2002 Tottenham shirt, how much time do you spend looking at the pricing, or do you kind of know what they roughly go for? Because pricing does change over time. You know, if it's the year that Tottenham won something, I think you've only ever won one trophy, but if it was that year, the price of the shirt might be worth a lot more compared to all the other years where you don't ever win anything. So how much time do you spend when it comes to the pricing?
Yeah, I'd say like for years, it's just a quick eBay search. That's literally it. Unless it's say like a 2XL, 3XL, it might command like a little bit more of a premium or something like that. Then I'll dive even deeper into the solds. But say for just like an All Saints button down shirt or something like that, or I don't know, a Ralph Lauren button down, something like that. It's very much just like, it's rapid. Don't really need to look. But say for, I don't know, football shirts, I'll just double check the years, especially if they're away kits or third kits or goalkeeper kits or training kits, something a little bit more niche. Then yeah, it's very quick. And the thing is, with my store, I sell similar off everything. Even if I don't have that exact item, if it's similar to it, I'll sell similar off that. So I get a rough gauge off those as well. So
we do things so differently. It's so interesting. Like we do the same job, but we do things so differently. I never sell similar off my own items.
To me, that's mad.
Exactly. But to me, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just what I've always done. And I kind of don't want to try and reinvent the wheel, and it works for me. So yeah, interesting.
That's why doing anything outside of what you've normally been doing for say the last year and a half,
Just
2 years. It's like probably when I said to you about, because you used to airdrop pictures, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, is there a way that, I don't know.
It used to fail so many times.
Yeah, whether they're in order or something like that. I was like, try, not many people use it, Simple Transfer, an app connects my phone with the Mac. And it's been so reliable for the whole time that I've been doing it. And I said it to you, and now that's just part of your routine, isn't it?
But you know the crazy thing, and let us know in the comments, a lot of people are saying you're both idiots. Why are you using Simple Transfer? Why are you using AirDrop? Just plug your phone in.
Yeah, yeah, it's just what I do.
And again, I've tried the whole plugging my phone in, and I can't get the photos. And so I'm like, I don't want to spend hours trying to work this shit out. So yeah, let us know in the chat. Let us know how you transfer your photos onto your PC, or do you? A lot of people do listings on the PC and upload from the phone. So yeah, let us know your process when it comes to
that. eBay will bring it in eventually with their own AI lister. Will it be any good? Probably not to start with. And then Andy followed up with eBay already have it and it doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
they should eventually be doing it, shouldn't they? They could obviously imagine that they're making, say, if they could make 50p a listing or something like that, but incorporated into eBay.
And if you think eBay is going to incorporate that and not have some kind of charge for that, you're crazy. Because I think eBay will see it as, let's add this extra £10 a month you can pay for the AI software. Let's be honest, eBay's a business. They're not going to just add this free of charge. So just prepare yourselves.
Yeah, the store will be like 120 a month or something. Do you both use ChatGPT to do eBay listings then? I just really use it to understand mostly women's stuff, but then to also grasp a few more keywords that I didn't already know. So I don't use it that much. But yeah, it's just further research, but you just get it bang like that. So
every listing now, personally, I ask it to optimize the title to sell within 90 days as well. Now, how advanced ChatGPT is going to be with that? Because there's lots more aspects compared to just the title. It's the condition, it's the price, etc. But yeah, every listing, and it takes no time at all. Also, it pulls out some really good keywords that I wouldn't have thought of adding in as well. Loads of core. It gives me loads of cores like granny core and cottage core, and then I have to go and research what it is to make sure it makes sense. But yeah, I love it. I'm an advocate for ChatGPT. I haven't got an affiliate code, but if I can get one, I'll share it.
Granny core, like what is that?
Yeah, granny core is like the old, like, you know, like imagine like a granny's knitted your cardigan like that.
Yeah, granny core.
Granny core, mate.
Once Tech finished reselling at the level he was at, he dropped a bomb in the room for everyone, and it was a clever move for him, but has messed things up for the normal Joe. What's that then?
Probably AI, the AI listening tool. I think at the end of the day, it gives people who use the tool an advantage. I believe that. But it's like any software and tool. I mean, I used our Opus Clip when it comes to like when I was doing more on TikTok for the reselling side. I'm going to be doing more TikTok for the crime side actually. But I was using Opus Clip, a software to clip my car boot videos. And I was getting like 20, 30 clips in the space of like 10 minutes. If I was to clip them myself, it would take me hours and hours and hours. So any software you want to use is going to give you the edge. And I think that's what I'm saying about AI, Husty. I think the people who do not embrace all of this stuff to make your life easier, to make it quicker, to free up more time, to allow you more time to invest in your business. I think if you're not using the software, you will be, like you said there, the normal Joe, who might get left behind potentially. Not guaranteed. You know, the normal Joe might only be listing 10 a day, but they might be listing 10 items that are making £200 profit each that sell overnight. So they're still ahead of the game. But yeah, I think for the people looking to grow to like high level numbers of listings, I think the people using AI will outsmart them overall because it just frees up the time, and time is money.
Yeah, Lucy, the app's called Opus Clip. I've just put it in the chat. And Shel Saruni saying Granny Core is Ditsy T dressed and Land Girl tanks. And
See what I mean?
Isn't it?
All these terms, like Granny Core for me, I thought someone was taking the piss when I first heard it.
So did I. I just think anything could have core on the end of it nowadays.
There's so many cores. There's like grunge core. Honestly, there's so many. Just add core onto any word and it works.
Yeah, slow down, people. It never used to be like this. Can a man just do 10 listens a day? When will it end? 1,000 listens a day is insane. There'll be companies doing that as well. You see, like the Music Magpies and all that. They're going to be listing.
But that's another thing now. I think years ago, 10 listens a day, when people said about, oh, I list 10 a day, people were shocked by that number. Now I hear people who are listing like 50, 60, 70 a day, and that makes me shocked. But do you know what? In a year's time, 50 a day might be the norm. With all this technology coming out, 50 a day might be the starting point to run a successful eBay business for some people. And again, successful depends on what you want from the business. Some people do not need to earn a crazy amount from the business. Some people need to earn 20 grand a month from eBay for their lifestyle and to survive on what they've got. For other people, you need to earn, £100 a week. So it's subjective, isn't it, at the end of the day? Everyone's business is so different.
And with AI software, I wouldn't want to risk losing my account unless the selling platform gives permission for the software. It could be against their terms and conditions. Yeah, I think for whether it's Monster AI or texting, it should be 100%.
Yeah,
that
they've
it's completely
API
allowed.
confirmed. eBay allows it. It's all API confirmed. So yeah, it's not like some of the other software that can get you blocked up. They wouldn't do it otherwise. These software companies wouldn't make this software risking people's accounts. So it's all above board.
Yeah. Morning, Lee. How you doing, good mate? I said ages ago that you would never get enough decent stuff for a lot of various reasons. One is every man and his dog is looking. Always have to be open to other niches.
Luke will disagree on that.
I mean, I personally, I just feel as though I can get enough, and if I can get enough, I'm good. I'm open to other stuff, like I said, with like golf gear, because I know it, and I even take chances. And for instance, that was the McLaren Flask, which they ended up going for like 120 quid in the end, and I paid like 20 quid for them. So that was, and they went rapid. I think all gone within like a week. So stuff like that, I'll take chances on.
I think knowledge gets you far on that. I think, lots of people know what everyone else knows. It's the people who know the stuff that people do not know or haven't discovered as of yet. Like our legacy is a great example. Okay, Andy talked about our legacy. I'd heard it once or twice, but not really done research into it. And now that's ingrained in our head. And probably whoever watched this podcast, you know about it because you spoke about it. And then I went out and found our legacy. But beforehand, our legacy meant nothing to me. So I think the people who have the edge, it always comes down to it. It's the knowledge. It's the knowledge. Who knows about certain things? Who knows about a certain item in a certain brand that everyone leaves behind because they think it's a terrible brand, but there's 2 items in that brand that sell for 80 to 100 pounds. Who knows that? And that's the difference.
Go on, the boys. Actually up when it's still live. Can't wait to watch this back. Jamie, Sully, mate, you got to get up earlier. Get out of bed.
8 o'clock is not an early start, so that's embarrassing from you.
It's not an early start. I paid my daughters per item for photos, but they were too unreliable, so I sacked them.
And you know what? We laugh about that, and we spoke about it before.
Got to be willing to.
If you're hiring family members, or like with Andy, their daughters, if they're not doing a good job, you've got to have the conversation to basically say like you're out, and that's really tough. I mean, it's hard enough sacking someone who's like a friend or someone you don't know, but imagine you've got to, like, I've always thought to myself, like, if I brought Leanne into the business and she weren't pulling her weight, she's out. I've got to sack her. Like, imagine that.
That's so brutal.
Imagine she's cooking the dinner and I'm like, unfortunately, things aren't working out. You're fired. You've got to do it. It's your business.
If you're willing to fire. Disagree, James. Softwares do risk people's account. They just care about money. Lots of people have been banned from Vinted. We're talking about a completely different software thing, I think.
Yeah, these are API integrated with eBay. So these companies here have actually linked up with eBay, and eBay allows API integration. The software you're talking about, you're 100% right. Anyone using the sniping bots and sniping monitors and the sniping software, that goes against Vinted's terms of use, hence why people have been banned. So it's a different software. API software is API integrated software is allowed. And I'll give you an example of API software. Packlink is API software. So there's one example of a company who's not eBay, who's linked up with eBay using API. So yeah, it's slightly different.
Yeah, they said someone got banned. I don't really want to pull that up. I know they spoke about it recently, but it's a completely different platform, completely different T's and C's, and then this stuff will be allowed. I mean, especially coming from someone like Tech. I mean, if you're not in the group, there's no way this guy would bring something out that isn't allowed. So I think you're going to be 100% safe. I can guarantee that. But yeah, I'm going to round it up because it's been nearly an hour and a half. This must be like the new time now. But in overall, I'll probably say like you can succeed without bangers or high profit items or stuff like that. But I think you're probably going to work a lot harder and you're going to need to sell a lot more stuff. So I think increasing your knowledge, trying to get better as a reseller, is very important for me. I personally, I don't think I could do this not bringing in stuff like that, even as like a small percentage, just to boost up that ASP. So overall thoughts, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I think the bangers are great, and yes, we would love 20 sales today, and them all to be bangers, all to be £80 profit. The realism is you might get that if you're lucky, and I hope you will do. I wish I did. The realistic thing is you might get 10 sales today and you might have 1 or 2 of them bangers, and that could be a good day for you. So I think don't forget about the bread and butter stuff, the stuff that sells really quick that maybe is making you 12 to 20 pound profit. Like, don't ignore that stuff as well, because 8 of them quickly add up to a reasonably good day. But if you can sprinkle in a couple of 1 or 2 bangers in there as well, you turn a good day into an amazing day. So that'd be my advice. Look out for the bangers, but don't ignore the other stuff as well. And we will do in a couple of weeks' time, if Luke's up for it, maybe we'll do a bit more on AI. We can talk a little bit more about ChatGPT, how we use it, how we don't use it, the advancements of it. I'd like to share some of that information with you guys as well. But do you want to preview next week's episode, or do you want to keep it a surprise? We got a guest.
We have a guest coming on. I'm going to pop up a post probably by the weekend, something like that, for next week. But you guys are going to be excited. They've been on the podcast before. Great guest. Can't wait to catch up with them, see how things have been over the past year, because a lot has changed. So can't wait to speak to them and have a great chat, mate. But yeah, what are you up to for the rest of the day?
I've done my listings already. I'm pleased to know. Had them done yesterday for today, so they're done. I've parceled up my items, ready to go. I'm going to get my hair cut, and tomorrow we're going down to Devon. I'm back on Friday though, because I'm out Saturday. So yeah, that's it, mate. Going to get my hair cut, do some more drafts. The shed is a sauna, mate. Honestly, I was looking at aircon units yesterday. That's another conversation. But yeah, that's it, mate. Just the eBay life, and then crack on, really, mate.
Love it. All right, I'm going to hit the gym, and then I'm going to crack on with sitting in this chair and listing all day, which sounds beautiful. So appreciate you guys popping in as always. Much love, and can't wait to chat to you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks everyone as well. I just want to say thanks everyone for all the comments and stuff. It really helps the conversation, and we love your input. So please keep coming back, and yeah, like, subscribe, and peace.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.